What's up, y'all? Just finishing up my night here, doing a little bit of face wash, my nighttime routine. I just got off the phone with Tay, and it was a long day on set today. It was our first day back after our day off, but it was nice. Today was a whole lot of fun. I don't know. It's been an interesting mix of a lot of different things in a number of different ways. Like, it's been creatively challenging, but also something where I've needed this creative reboot in a lot of different ways, because I've been feeling creatively stagnant for the past couple of years. And this is so outside of my comfort zone. We have requirements on what kind of tools we can use. Most people are filming things on their phones. I don't have access to my normal softwares, or my normal computer, and they're just, in a lot of ways, kind of restricting what we can do creatively, which is kind of forcing us to branch outside of what we're used to doing, which is turning out to be actually really fun and rewarding in a lot of ways. Hard for sure, but rewarding. I have definitely been struggling, and I think today was a mix of things, because there have been a couple things on the show in a row that just haven't gone my way, or haven't gone the way that I was hoping. And that's really frustrating when you feel like what you're putting out creatively isn't being received. And at the same time, I'm expanding my horizons in terms of what I'm comfortable filming, what I'm okay putting out, and just not focusing on having such a perfectly curated image, focusing on having elements of more raw realness to things, which is something that I have struggled with for a long time, but it's something that I'm working to move past, which is also rewarding. But it's hard and it's uncomfortable. But the nice thing is I'm on set with a bunch of really cool people who are more comfortable and more adept at things like that I normally struggle with. So it's helpful to, one, see the success that they're having with things like that, and just more of a real, raw version of themselves, because back in Austin, which is where I live, the creator community it's just much smaller, and Austin also tends to be a very entrepreneurial, self-help sort of, at least the space that I'm in tends to be very much like that, and there are a lot of heavily curated images and creators there in that sense. And so in a lot of ways, perfection is it's kind of baked into that culture a little bit, and that's something that I actively want to change about myself, and also probably the community that I'm a part of back in Austin, just because it's not real, and it's also really stressful, and it takes a lot of the joy out of just creating, because fundamentally what we do is an art, and it should connect and move its viewers, and in order to do that, there needs to be an element of rawness, opening up, vulnerability, at least a willingness to be wrong, obviously trying to be right whenever possible, but not focusing so heavily on perfection that you miss the connection. And I think that's what I'm trying to hit right now. One of my buddies on the show, Carrington, he has a style that's wildly different than mine. I focus really heavily on high quality, almost that perfect image sort of thing, and there is just a freeness to him and his content, and not an aloofness, but just like a willingness to fuck around and fuck up. And I really appreciate that about what he does. And he actually was the impetus for me starting to post these sorts of just conversational videos where I'm just talking and just kind of like connecting and getting to know more about what it is to be a creator, and what it is to be like a human on the internet, and learn more about y'all as well. And that's a two-way street. And yeah, he held me to it. And the last video I like uploaded and whatnot, and he actually checked in this morning, was like, hey, did you ever end up doing that? I was like, yeah, I did. I appreciate it. And I think that was really cool to see him check in, because one, obviously he cared, but then also it's like, okay, people will come back. They are interested. And it made me really want to like continue with this sort of like open, candid conversation, because I realized I'm like, this is something I actually kind of enjoy. I just kind of enjoy talking to the camera and, to a degree, monologuing, right? But just kind of opening up more about like who I am in my life and whatnot, which is, I don't know, it's cool. One of the things that's kind of been going on in the background, for me for a while now is, and I haven't really talked about this much publicly, but I've been going through the process of becoming a firefighter, for Austin, AFD. And basically the process started in February of this year, of 2020, or 2023, lol. And it's been a really long process. It's taken a lot of like energy and time and thought, and effort on my part, and for it something to be taking up that much space and energy and whatnot, and for me not to talk about it, felt weird and not disingenuous, but certainly I could do a better job of being more open. And it's also, I figured also, I'm not the only person who's interested in this sort of work. And because, one of my creator friends, Isaac, actually, met him in 2020 at a retreat. And he's a firefighter in LA, here, actually. Not in Austin right now, I'm in Los Angeles. In a lot of ways, he kind of like inspired me to pursue that, because it's something where I could make a lot of difference, and I would actually have like boots on the ground, and there's flexibility and freedom to be able to be a creator and also still really help make a tangible impact on things, which is something that I crave, and I've really been looking forward to. But basically, since August, I knew where I was ranked in the whole process. The process has been going on for a while. I was like 25th out of like the 50 candidates that they were taking. And I think there were like 1,370 some applicants, almost 1,400 applicants. So I was really proud of the fact that I was able to be in the top of that ranking, without any extra points or anything from like being a former firefighter or a veteran or anything like that. And basically I just had to pass like a series of tests, right? And so there was this like 800 question test that we took in like this September. And on it there was like mention of like any kind of drug usage, stuff like that. And they were like, be honest, we don't care. I was like, okay, sure. And I put in there that I have smoked once, taken between 5 and 10 gummies in my life, right? Marijuana, that is. And passed the physical test, passed the medical test, and passed the psychological test until they were like, hey, this is a red flag. Like, what do you have to say about this, having smoked weed? And I put that I had done it in February, which was true. I was like, hey, I was caught so flat-footed because I was like, I didn't think this was a problem. because y'all were like, hey, be honest, so I was. And then I got the email basically a week later after that, after I didn't really have any response to it because I didn't really know what to say. I got the email like a week later that I'd been removed from the hiring process. And so I basically have been reaching out trying to get my application reevaluated because it's kind of a silly reason to be removed from the process. Like, they have their standards and whatnot, but they said things would be fine. And so I was honest, and it is what it is. I had seen Taylor later that week. Taylor had found some news articles talking about the fire chief, or the fire chief in Austin, talking about his policy on marijuana and how he doesn't hire anyone who has smoked or done any kind of marijuana-based substances, used any kind of marijuana-based substances in the past 3 years, which is, it's crazy. But basically right now I'm reaching out to people to see if I can get my case reevaluated, because I was a very good candidate for the process, but I was removed for something that I didn't think was very fair, and I'm fighting for what I think honestly would be good for both myself, my family, and also for the community that I could serve. But yeah, I don't know. That's something that's been going on for a really long time now, basically since February of this year, but then a lot of that drama kind of went on in October or so. And I feel like I'm definitely not the only one that's gone through something like that. So right now, basically, I'm seeing if I can get my application reevaluated, but I should find out sometime in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, weird thing to leave off on, but kind of just wanted to share. Anyway, have a good night, y'all. I'll see you tomorrow.